What really separates the patients who thrive and achieve their health goals from the others who are still stuck in struggle? I'm going to give you 3 traits that I have seen in my successful patients with over 10 years of practice in gastroenterology and gut health. It's not just treatments, supplements, and tests that determine success in a patient. It's their mindset. Welcome, everybody, to the Good Gut Feeling podcast, where we digest modern medicine with old world wisdom. And today we have another exciting and very practical topic. I've been thinking a lot about what really differentiates the successful patient from the patient who does not achieve their health goals despite many years of struggle. Today we're going to talk about the success code. 3 traits my healthiest patients have in common. Number 1, open your mind, open your body in a good way. There are a number of people who come to my practice, and I can often predict which ones will have success quickly and smoothly, and the ones that I know are going to struggle. And it's not what you think. You may think, okay, it's the person who has a very severe disease. Those are the ones that are going to struggle. Or maybe it's the ones that are older, or maybe the ones that have already had multiple interventions that failed. And I'm going to tell you that's not the case, because I have seen people who come off as very ill, have very severe illness, who thrived. And yes, it may take time, and it's probably not overnight. And I've also seen patients who have what you might consider something relatively mild. A little discomfort, a little bloating, maybe somewhat irregular stools, something that is a nuisance, but not something that someone would consider as a very severe illness. And those are not the predictors of who is going to do well. Number 1 is, do they come in with an open mind? There's so much information online, and there's so many different opinions. And a lot of people come in and wanting something specific. I am here because I want you to order this test. I am here because I want to heal through supplements. I am here because I want to change my diet. And those are all not bad things. Those things may also be a part of the healing journey. But the person who thrives comes in and says, I want help. I want to get better. I'm here with an open mind. And what do you recommend for me to get better? Why is that important? Well, 1 is pretty obvious, because maybe what they think they need is really not the most important thing. That could be true. But I think really more importantly is they come in with a blank slate that can be filled with something much greater than they can even imagine. And there are a number of patients who graduated from whole gut health, who have been doing great and who I don't see for years, who came in with that. They came in and they said, okay, they may have Crohn's, and they may have ulcerative colitis, and they may have pain or bloating or constipation, but they left not only with their gut working well, but with a different approach to life, with a different purpose to life, feeling more joyful, more energized, more happy. Why? Because they came in with an open mind, with humility, with, I've tried all this other stuff, but it hasn't worked. So I need to do something different, because if I bring the same mindset and the same approach to the problem and expect a different result, that probably won't work. So I have to do something new, and I'm open to hearing what you say. So remember, the mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. So how can we approach this practically? First of all, do your research and find the right person for you, who resonates with you, who speaks your language, who you feel you can trust. So don't jump on someone who may have the best credentials, or may have the best reviews, or may have the best social media presence. And although those are all things you can look at, but the connection with the person is the most important, because there can be great doctors who are great for some people, but not great for others. And in fact, that is always the case. There's not one doctor for everyone. There's different doctors for different people, and you have to find the person who resonates with you. And this is where you need to take your time and find the right person. And then trust. Now, not trust blindly, not believe anything, but if you chose that person after your research, After trusting your intuition and you don't trust, you will have a hard time. And the trust is really not in that person, but really in yourself, that you chose correctly, that you did your research, and now you're putting your faith in the process. And your mind is open about how to achieve my goal. So before you start on a new healing journey, check in with yourself. Am I bringing a beginner's mind to this process? Am I bringing an open slate to this process, or am I bringing an agenda? Number 2, there's a big difference between wanting to be well and doing what it takes. What does that mean? Well, everyone who comes to a doctor wants to be well, right? No one's coming in there and saying, hey, I just came to share my thoughts and I still want to stay sick. Everyone wants to be well. Everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone wants to be happy. But what are you willing to do to make that happen? Sometimes it's a process, and sometimes it requires discipline, and sometimes it requires change, and sometimes it's not comfortable. Are you willing to do that? Healing can be inconvenient. It means cooking more at home, managing stress, dedicating time to a morning routine, and most importantly, looking inside yourself and being honest with yourself, taking responsibility. The most successful patients don't just say they want to be better, they show it. And I'm going to give you examples. One of the things that we always discuss in a consultation is diet. And sometimes I tell people my opinion on what foods would be best for them. And it's always personalized. And yes, there are general concepts, but the specifics are always personalized. And some people say, I'll do whatever it takes, go into their fridge, throw out all the stuff they don't want to eat, give it away, go shopping, learn how to cook, whatever it takes. And some people say, no, I really don't want to give this up. I love my ex, whether it's coffee or bread or sugar or dairy, whatever it is. There's a very big difference in, I don't know how to do it yet. I haven't started eating healthy, but I'm going to do whatever it takes. How can you help me? Can you help me with a coach to guide me in this process? Can you find me a chef who's going to teach me how to cook? Can you tell me where to shop so I can buy the best things? That is beautiful, and that leads to success. But some people say, I really love X, and I'm really not willing to give it up. And that is respectable. That is respectable. But when we negotiate, a lot of times the process is much harder. And I have seen remarkable people who, before they met me, were drinking soda, eating processed foods, drinking alcohol, a tremendous amount of coffee, you name it, not subtle things, like things that we already know are probably not good. Things they knew were probably not good. And these people made a drastic change. And for some of them, they didn't live in a city where it was accessible. Some of them needed to order their grass-fed meat to be delivered to their home frozen because there was no grass-fed meat in their town or in the neighboring towns because they lived in a small area. And some of them had to travel to get their food, and some of them had to travel to come for their visits. And it didn't matter because they were willing to do what it takes. And I have seen people have tremendous results they didn't think were possible, beyond their expectations, because they had the attitude, I'll do what it takes. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter if the symptoms are severe. It doesn't matter if you've never eaten healthy before. The most important thing is, where do you hold now? Are you willing to do what it takes, or are you going to negotiate? I had a patient who had such severe small intestinal bacterial overgrowth that he had traveled all over the country to the most prestigious biomedical research institutions, academic centers. He was not an old man, and he was having so many bowel movements a day with uncontrollable urgency and frequency that he had to wear a diaper. And he was a successful executive in his 50s. And even though he took medications to help with the diarrhea, they did not work. He had done everything. He had tried all the medical treatments, the antibiotics, the antidiarrheal meds. They helped so minimally that he was wearing a diaper. and travel was difficult, and it affected his life horribly. And he had a pretty bad lifestyle between soda and alcohol and processed food and dessert. And he came to me with an open heart and an open mind and said, please help me. Nothing else has worked. I'm willing to do what it takes. He didn't live in a big urban area. He had to fly here, and it took him hours to get to the airport and a flight here and hotels here. And in his town, he didn't have healthy food available. This was not New York. This was not Miami. This was not LA, where there was a health food store in every corner. There was the closest store was 2 hours away, and he changed his life. Whatever it took, he did. And you know what? At the end of his journey, he had no diarrhea at all. He didn't need to wear a diaper, and he didn't need any of the medications. And not only did that get better, but other things got better. His blood pressure got better. His energy level got better. His mood got better. Everything got better, more than he could have ever imagined. And the one thing that he had that worked for him was that he was willing to do what it takes, regardless of how hard or inconvenient it was. And number 3, you know what's more powerful than probiotics and green smoothies? Gratitude. Being grateful for the process, being grateful for the treatments, being grateful for the ability to create health internally, being grateful to myself for starting this process, for the effort that I make. The patients who thrive, they celebrate their little wins. They see their health journey as a sacred process rather than a burden. They thank their bodies. They appreciate the care. I have a patient who has very severe Crohn's disease, and her biologic therapy isn't working. And she is sick and tired of switching medications and trying new things and the side effects of her biologic therapy. And she wanted to start something new. And she started the process, and she saw results, not only in her physical body, but she saw results in her life. She started looking for a purpose, and her relationships changed. Her relationships with herself changed. Her relationship with life changed. And she had so much gratitude, not only for the process and the care and her wins and learning how to eat well, but she had gratitude that this even came up, that she even had this health issue, because she learned that the body's language is symptoms. So her body was telling her, your life can be better. Check in. I'm sending you a message. Check in and let's make it the best life, not only physically. A thankful patient is not passive. It doesn't mean I say thank you and then I go home and do nothing. A thankful patient is empowered. They have gratitude for their efforts. They understand that it's not going to be linear. Sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down. But if we look at the end of the month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, and the trajectory is generally up, that's a win. And even a small little up is also a win. And a small little down is not a loss. That's just an opportunity to check in. So take 60 seconds and be grateful for the process, for the symptoms, for the learning, for the opportunity, and see where it gets you. Do it daily. See if it makes you happier. See if it makes you healthier. So here is your success checklist. Number 1, come with an open mind. Number 2, be willing to show up. And number 3, have gratitude for every step of the way. Healing isn't just about protocols. It's about perspective. If you shift your mindset, your body will likely follow. So thank you for listening, everybody. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe. Please share with your friends. We have a whole bunch more on wholegut.com. Stay healthy, stay gutsy, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.